Okay, so this is my book report video. The first question is, why do you think the author chose the title of this book? And I think he chose the title of this book, The Fault in Our Stars, because like a lot of the theme, a theme of the book is like everyone has something like that they're insecure with, and like the fault in our stars is like if someone's a star and like there's a fault in it, that's like what someone's insecure about. In a summary of the entire book. So, from the beginning, there's a girl named Hazel Grace, and she has lung cancer, and her parents have to take care of her and give her her treatment and all that stuff she needs. And she feels bad for her parents because, like, they always have to take care of her and they never have money to spend on themselves. And she goes to this support group a few times a month or something like that, and she meets this boy. Oh, she also has like a few friends in there, but she generally doesn't really like going at all. And she meets this boy, Augustus, and his nickname's Gus. That's pretty much what they call him throughout the book, is Gus. And they fall in love, and they start hanging out, but Gus is already pretty much likes her, but Hazel just likes being friends with him for a bit. And what else? They end up like hanging out a lot, and then they hang out a lot, and Gus had cancer in his leg, but he has a prosthetic now because they chopped it off. And then they hang out a lot, and then they also really like this book. It's called Imperial Affection, and they both really like it. Hazel originally liked it first, but she got Gus into it, and they both fall in love with the book, and it has like this cliffhanger ending that like no one knows about. And because Gus still has a wish from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and Hazel doesn't, Gus uses his wish on Hazel for them both to go meet the author of the book in Amsterdam. And when they go to Amsterdam, they end up hanging out a lot before they actually go meet him, and Hazel falls in love with him there. And then they go and see Peter Van Houten, which is the author of the book, and he ends up being like a total meanie. And he like makes fun of him as like this drunk guy, blah, blah, blah. And then they find out he was just like a sham, and they feel like their time is wasted together, or not time is wasted together, but like they feel that like it was all for nothing, like what's the point of life. And Hazel's really sad. But after that, oh yeah, they like fall in love, they like kiss and stuff, and you know, the whole shebang. And they Gus tells Hazel that like his cancer came back, and they found out about it late, and it's pretty much spread all throughout his body, and there's no way of like fixing it or reversing it or anything like that. So they end up spending a lot more time together before he dies. And then when he dies, Peter Van Houten comes back. Oh, Gus wrote Hazel a letter, and he gave the letter to Peter to revise it. And then like Peter starts to come around after a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, I realize I'm sorry, blah blah blah." But Hazel's like, "Whatever, you're just some drunk guy." But she tries not to see past it. But like Peter really tries to be nice, and so he just gives her the letter, and it's like this really heartwarming letter. And yeah, and the favorite line, I had to go through the book for this one. I have it written down here, and one of them is from Gus, and it is, "As he read, I fell in love with the way you sleep, and slowly all at once." And it was like a line in the book where Hazel like would read a little bit to him. I think there's like this scene in the book, and then they like, hold on, let me restart. Like, well, as he read, I fell in love with the way you fall asleep, and then all at once. That's basically saying that like Gus, when Hazel was in the hospital because she passed out, one time from her cancer in her lungs, and she couldn't breathe, and she passed out. They Gus stayed with her in the room for a bit, and he slowly fell in love with her while she slept, and then fell in love with her completely while she slept. And then another line in the book that I thought was good was when Gus's another line, he says something like he keeps a cigarette in his mouth, but he never lights it, so he can't really like he never lets the power of the cigarette kill him because he hasn't lit it yet, so he can't like breathe in the smoke because he has cancer, and it's like really likely it to come back and stuff. So that the one of the best lines from him is that like he keeps his cigarette. I'll let the cigarettes in my mouth, but I never give it the power to kill me. It's something like that, but I couldn't find the line in the book anywhere. And another question was change one thing about the book. I think I'd make there a conflict between Hazel and Gus at one point, like something like, oh, they might break up or they end up hating each other for a bit for some weird reason, because I think their relationship's like a little too perfect. I like to critique movies a lot, and one thing about the book I found out is, not I found out, but I think would make it better, is that like to make there a little bit more of a conflict between them at one point, and that would make it more interesting. But it's still an interesting book, but that would make it better just so their relationship is not so perfect. If you could change one thing about the book, what would it be? Oh yeah, that was that question. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you.